Guys, so in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to use the intersect selection in Lightroom. So Alan's asked me if I could try and explain it in simple terms. So I've had a look because I've not actually used it before till he mentioned it. I did know it was there, but I've never seen a use for it. Now the one thing that I do want to say is that with Lightroom, it's now getting to the point where it's almost a little bit like Photoshop, where there are probably 3 or 4 different ways to do the same thing, and this tool is one of them. So I'm going to walk you through the process of how you use it. So let's look at this image here. So we've got this image of this girl against a tree, and the reason why I've selected this image is because of the color. So to select this particular dress would be quite difficult because of the color. Yeah, obviously the tones are very, very similar. So what would we do? Let's have a look. So let's come up to the mask here, and if I just come to color range and then go color range there, and what I'm going to be doing is telling Lightroom that I just want this dress to be selected, and I'm going to click and draw, and as you can see, there's our issue. Yeah, and that's because we have got the same green over the whole of the image because it's a preset. So that's going to be a bit of a nightmare. So let me just go back a step. There we go. So what we need to do is refine the area first. So the first thing we would do is use the select subject. So there we go. Now what we can do is click on the 3 dots and select intersect mask with, and then we can choose any of these. So I'm going to use a brush, and I can now go and brush areas, and you can see here that it's actually starting to paint in. So that might happen to you. So what you need to do, I'm just going to go back a step, is when you're on the mask and you go to intersect and then you say brush, click on the invert. Okay, and you can also change it from A to B, because now we're going to minus it. Okay, so what that's going to do is give us the ability to select areas that we want, and it's just the bottom of that dress that we want. Now again, I'm going to go back a couple of steps because I want to show you something else. So if we've selected this subject here, the other thing that you could do is click and then intersect and then try and use the color range. Now because her skin is different color to the dress, it should in theory not select the skin, but because it's a Lightroom preset, it may actually pick her skin up anyway. So I'm just going to click on the dress again, and you can see there it's tried its best to do it. It's not done a great job, but it's done a little bit, and we can see there that yeah, I'm trying as much as I can. The other thing that we can do is then come over to the refine, so we can push it up or we can pull it down, and pulling it down will just pull it away, and that may be enough for 90% of the images that you're going to be editing with. Okay, but in this particular shot I'm using this one because it's so difficult to edit. It's not really going to help. So again, I would now select intersect and then brush, make sure the invert is off, and then go in, and then what I'm going to do is just paint out this mask. And what you'll find is that because we've used the tool that selects colors, it's gonna, some areas could be quite stubborn simply because it's still trying to keep anything within that color range selected. So you may have to make your brush a little bit smaller like I am now, and just really refine these areas. Like her eyes, for instance, you can see there's bits of red here, and you know, if you're editing, you're going to want this to be perfect. So what you may need to do is just change the brush sizes a little bit, also pull the feather down, flow and density up, and you'll see eventually all of these areas will disappear. And it's a good idea to move the mouse or pen, whatever you're doing, in lots of different directions, just to make sure that you do get that. Now some of these areas here are white, okay, so them areas there are reflecting these colors. That's why they're not shifting, so we may have to live with them. Okay, so under here, but again, it won't be that noticeable in the end result, but what I would do is just really take your time with it and try and eliminate as much of it as you possibly can. So say for instance we are happy with that, okay, and again I'm using a really difficult image because I don't want to do it and then just show you, oh, this is how you do it, and it become easy, and then you come across an image like this and it's impossible to do. Okay, so I'm just trying to give myself the hardest test I can. And there's a little line there around the edge there, we could go over that, but I'm just going to leave that for now because otherwise I'll end up messing it up. Right, so now we've done that, what we can do is come to the overlay, and now if we wanted to we can change the bottom of this dress, and you can see there I can pretty much change that to any color I want now. So let's just say we go with something like that. That's quite nice. We can boost the saturation up to get more of a brighter image, or if we want more pastel we can bring that down, of course. So if I press enter on that, okay, so now if you look, them areas that we didn't select that were white, which was this here, the dress, the eyes, they're not actually changed. Can you see? So even though there was a really small selection, it's not affected it. So that's why I was saying about going over the little areas, just trying to get as much as you can out, but you can see the end result is actually fine. Her eyes and this cusp here is not the same color, so we've got away with that. Okay, so the other way that you would do it is by, so that's how you use the intersection. So if we just get rid of that and start again, so the other way to do it would be select subject and then subtract brush and then just brush it away. Okay, so that's the other way that you can do it, and to be fair, that's how I use Lightroom. I don't use the Intersect unless it's something really complex and something that I just, you know, I really can't get a selection of, or I'm finding really hard. So this is the other way of doing it, and it's much easier, isn't it? As you can see, you can just brush in. But for instance, you know, if it was a different picture, if she had a green dress and the background wasn't the same color as the dress, then the first process that I just showed you would actually be really the best option, because it would pick out the color straight away. Okay, so I hope that's explained it. In my opinion, it's over engineering Lightroom. Okay, I would advise that you do the normal process, which is just with this brush, minus it away and off you go, and it's so much easier. But sometimes that intersect can work. So I hope that's cleared up that for you. Take care, I'll see you soon.